Good morning. It's Friday, April 17th. I'm Josh Greiveldinger, and I'm streaming to you from an America without school shootings. Just how close are we to the apocalypse? Well, as you can tell, I've finally given up on shaving. This week, a fan sent me this new bow tie that I'm wearing. I love it, but they didn't sign their name on the card. So to all of our viewers, but especially whoever sent me this lovely gift, drop your name in the comments so I can thank you properly, and welcome to the lockdown. As we do every Friday, let's get you caught up on the news you need to know. To put everything into context, in the United States, the death toll has reached 31,000. 5.2 million more people this week have filed for unemployment, bringing the total of unemployed workers to 22 million people. The Paycheck Protection Program ran out of money to lend to small businesses, and Republicans want to pass a clean bill to add additional funding to the program. They're upset that the Democrats want to add increased funding for hospitals to that same bill. The Democrats are trying to put as much helpful stuff as possible into one bill because for every bill they need to pass, Representative Thomas Mazie will try to force a roll call vote, bringing everyone back to Congress at a time when we're trying to minimize travel and group gatherings. He's the guy at every job who schedules an all-hands meeting when an email would suffice. At the start of the week, President Trump made the unconstitutional claim that his authority is total in telling states when to reopen. After a huge amount of bipartisan pushback, he announced that he has authorized governors to do what they think is best. It reminds me of when bullies would allow me to keep my lunch money when the teacher was around. While President Trump has issued recommended guidelines for how states can begin to reopen, there's a large consensus that the key to safely reopening the country and economy is increased testing capacity. Now, over a month ago, the president falsely claimed that anyone who wanted a test would get one. But that's still as real as a degree from Trump University. The president is also delaying some people in getting their pandemic payments because he wants his name printed on the checks. While this might seem like a cheap political trick, it's pretty restrained considering Trump's original plan was to skip the checks altogether and sign everyone in America up for his Books on Tape series, I've declared bankruptcy 6 times and people still think I'm good at business. Luckily, people with direct deposit are starting to receive their COVID cash. An extra $1,200 is going to buy me 150 bags of pizza rolls when I go shopping in 2 weeks. You know, I'm doing it for the economy. And speaking of groceries, Smithfield Foods, one of our country's leading meat processors, has shut down 3 plants due to coronavirus exposure. Now please, don't go out and panic buy all the pork belly. The supply chain is still intact as long as people don't go crazy like they did with the toilet paper. And toilet paper I can live without, but bacon I need. The head of the WWE, Vince McMahon, is having a good week. First, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has deemed professional wrestling an essential business because he claimed that people are starved for content. Come on, Ron. There are 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls to watch, plus the Netflix revival. If you binged that like a 9-to-5 job, it would still take you 15 days to finish the series. And then you can still listen to the Gilmore Guys podcast for the 2 weeks after that. Secondly, Mr. McMahon was selected as one of the experts advising President Trump on opening the economy, although I'm not sure what his qualifications are. I'm not going to give him a hard time for the likely bankruptcy of his other venture, the XFL. Considering the pandemic, that's not his fault. But the first time the XFL failed in 2001, that's totally on Vince. Protests have been sparking up all over the country aimed at various governors' shelter-at-home orders. You know things are bad when you see a bunch of armed men at a state capitol and think, they really should be wearing masks. And while I agree that protesting should be considered an essential activity, they need to spread out. What do we want? Freedom. Where do we want it? At 6-foot intervals. An effective protest with proper social distancing would probably look like my college theater movement class. A large group of people keeping perfectly equidistant while walking briskly around the space with perfect posture. That would intimidate anyone. Even those without an expensive theater degree are starting to think outside the box. Some protesters in Michigan stayed in their cars and created a traffic jam as a way to show their displeasure. I expect they won't complain when other groups use similar traffic blocking tactics. A zoo in Germany has created a contingency plan for if they're unable to feed all their animals, and it includes feeding some of their animals to other ones. While tragic, it's going to be a dream come true for the lions, who have been tormented by knowing the gazelles have lived just on the other side of that fence from them. And to leave you on a positive and hopeful note heading into the weekend, the PGA Tour has announced plans to resume in June, just without any fans. It's actually a relief to many pro golfers who are constantly worried the crowd will throw them off by clapping too loud. And that's our show. I'll see you again on Monday. In the meantime, wash your hands, wear a mask, and for the love of America, please stay home.